Just your average 2-point night in the middle of February?
Well, going into it, you know it is. And resonated the room. We got stronger as that game went on from the first 10 to the end of the second period. We were a pretty good hockey team. But you feel it on the bench every play. The guys are chirping, talking. They're wired for the game. And we've had a couple of, you go back to the Boston game, I think, and into Tampa and into that one. There's been some really important big wins that we've had that I think the great part is you get to keep that. That's where confidence is built. The next big game that we have, well, for us, it's going to be all of them. But the next big game that you play against the team you're fighting with, you bring a confidence to those games.
You mentioned a couple of those games, and you mentioned being able to keep that just in terms of the sense of belief that it can generate among the group. Do you feel that as soon as they step on the ice?
It keeps you from being tentative on the ice, I think. And the fear of making a mistake disappears. You start thinking about doing something good. So Mark Stahl's going to be shooting that puck tomorrow. Whitey's going to be thinking he can make a play in that situation. They pull the goalie. We'll have some confidence in our ability to execute. I know we gave up 2, but I think we've given up 3 goals on our last 2 PK shots. So we've been pretty darn good on our PK. So it builds the confidence that you can excel, and it keeps that feeling of tentative hockey out.
And an individual to ask you about, a guy who spent some time playing here in Nashville. Nick Cousins has number 500 coming up tomorrow, and just in terms of the energy and the emotion that he can bring to the ice, he's one of those guys where his contributions don't always show up in the box score, but he can be very valuable.
He's one of those guys that's around the room in the middle of just about every joke and every chirp. And then he's got an energy on the bench and in the games, and he makes some plays. He's not just a kind of a grinder style. He's got some hands on him. So one of those guys that becomes part of the group that's real important to you.
What's an update on Giovanni Smith following last night?
Yeah, we think okay. We're not going to skate any of these guys today. We'll put them on a warm-up, but my expectation is that it'll be all right.
How about Sam Bennett?
Yeah, much better. I'm not sure if that makes him a player tomorrow, though. But he's closing in on it. We don't think this is going to be long.
And you have a goaltender for tomorrow yet, Coach?
Yeah, I'll tell you as soon as they both get off the ice. But Sergei didn't play him back-to-back with the idea that he could play a pretty long run. This is such an unusual schedule. We'll be playing the hot goaltender. The only thing we got to make sure is that we don't lose that heat by wearing him out.
You're talking about Sergei. Obviously, he's making a ton of saves, but the big saves, the high danger saves in particular, he gets out.
So we had about 3, I thought, rebound saves, which are the highest percentage goal. And he's just so square and moving out on the shots now, right? I would say we just had a long conversation about the confidence that you get to keep, right? You play well, you get to feel it, and he looks like that. He looks like the team feels on back-to-back nights or on big game nights that they can get it done.
And just the importance of ending this trip on a high note tomorrow and against another team that's right there in the thick of their own hunt.
It just is the tail end. We've got one more double 4-game weeks coming up. It'll be heavy at the end of March, but we're at 33 road games tomorrow, right? And lead the league in games and road games. So that's not a good thing. That hasn't been good for us, but we're very close to surviving it. And that's maybe the importance of that game tomorrow, is it puts you in a real good position to get to this next month.
When you talk about belief, do you think players kind of see that later at the end of the tunnel when it comes to the schedule?
Oh, no, they all know it, right? They understand. I mean, there's always challenges. Coaches will always complain. Nobody wants to be at home for a month, right? You got to worry about being stale and getting complacent. So, but based on what we've went through, I mean, you guys all know it. You got off the plane and you got to the hotel at 3 in the morning. You know how that feels. So the rest will be good.
I wanted to circle back to Nick Cousins. I mean, he told me he was going through some things before the season started, and it took him a couple months to get into it. I mean, how has he been since he started getting into the thick of things there?
I think we had a very heavy training camp, hard camp, and we had him at center ice, and I don't think center ice is his best position. So just when we realigned, Eric Stahl was a PTO at that point in time. We needed Whitey on the wing at that point in time, as Denisenko wasn't here. So he was put in a position for me that's not his best, and because of that he came out of the lineup. And then he got back in the wing and got a little bit better. What's really happened, I think, for the guy is that Lombard, Stahl, and he have something going on. I'd like to, if I can, keep that line together, because there's a chemistry there. And sometimes that's it. You can sit around and have kind of a grinding year and things not be good, and then you'll get it, right? You'll get out with the one centerman that gets you the puck in the right spots, or that you have a chemistry with, you can play off. And all of a sudden, you're a different player. So he's been, I think, And I would say the same about Ryan Lomberg too, because he's come off our fourth line into our third line. Been, pretty dynamic guy. Like he looks good and he looks fast. So you're thinking that maybe he and Luciano can play together, and gives you some options. Anthony Duclair, we believe, is not far off from playing for us. So all they find the right fit now for the last 20 odd games will be really important for our hockey team.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.